Hi, I'm Simon,
Hi, I'm Helen Gilmartin.
and welcome to Pep Talks. This is our way of helping you through the challenges. It's our little regular dose of inspiration, our little espresso shot of positivity and energy to help you get through these challenges. Helen, this is your inspiration. Where did the inspiration come from?
Well, this week, I suppose we've all experienced this rapidly changing working situation that we're in. The industry that we're involved in and the company that I work for, KOREC, we started to work from home and have a lot of people working from home now. Completely different. Overnight, our working life changed, and we're all sort of frozen in time. And we were looking at ways of communicating with our customers and how to keep this going. And we were talking about, webinars and training. And I felt this, actually, it is a time to grow and learn and, be leaders in this. And I felt that I need to share what I've learned over the years and who I've surrounded myself with and I've had the opportunity to meet, and that this would be of interest to people, and it'll be a way of us communicating and hopefully help. And that's what we're going to do.
Absolutely. And we have got some amazing people that we can pull in and draw inspiration from. I've been working with some absolutely incredible people over the past few years who I know have got some fantastic insights to share with us. And they've been through really, really challenging experiences. I mean, this is challenging for most people, but in some cases that they've been through life challenging experiences, life and death experiences. So we're going to draw from people like Anne Daniels, who's a polar expedition leader. And I know you were at a conference that we delivered a couple of years ago when Anne was telling her story. What was it that hit you about Anne's story particularly that you thought would be valuable for everybody watching, listening?
Well, I think what hit me about Anne's story was this incredible resilience. She had triplets and a young child and a 4-year-old or whatever, and she took up this challenge. And when she was, the only world champion North and South Pole explorer, but what really struck me about it was that when they had gone up, on one of the peaks, and they had set up their tent, and then they ended up back in the same place. They'd lost like 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And I thought, how did she get herself to step back out of that tent and start again? And that mindset has got to be something that we all have these challenges, and this is certainly a challenge. And for me, we have to think like Anne, that actually we have to go forward again. We cannot stay stuck. We are frozen in time, but we have to look forward and visualize the future and how we get there. And Anne is an absolute inspiration. I enjoyed.
Absolutely. That challenge of motivating yourself and your team to get up on day 8 when you've drifted back further. You've woken up on day 8 further away from the pole than when you started, because the ice is drifting south whilst you're walking north. And you can go to sleep at night and your tent's further away from your destination just because you've gone to sleep. That's an incredible challenge. We're also going to bring on Andy McMenemy, who ran, amazing guy, a total nutter, who ran 66 ultra marathons in 66 days. I mean, that in itself is pretty incredible, but it's even more incredible when you think that he tore his Achilles tendon on day 2. And he had to figure out a way of completing 66 ultra marathons with a torn Achilles tendon. And there's an experience particularly that I'm going to ask him to share, which is, you've got a challenge here that nobody's ever done before. Nobody's ever run an Achilles tendon back to health. The medical advice is rest it. And he's saying, no, sorry, I've got an ultra marathon to run tomorrow. So he said to his team, nobody's ever done this before. Great, we get to be the first. How do we do it? I'll put the effort in, you guys write the active science, and we'll figure this out as we go. So we're going to draw on that kind of experience. There's a guy who we were chatting about earlier, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Gibson, who I refer to as the man who beat Ebola, because he was tasked to lead a team of largely volunteers to eradicate Ebola in West Africa. And they were given less than a 1% chance of success when they set out. And yet they did it. So we're going to ask him how do you do that? How do you lead a team to do that? We're going to talk to Justin Hughes, Red Arrow's team pilot and Red Arrow's team leader, about how you turn unknown unknowns into known knowns. Because at the moment, a lot of people have got a lot of unknown unknowns. And slowly, gradually, we can start to turn them into known knowns and formulate a plan. But he shared with us at a conference a couple of years ago how you lead a team into that very, very volatile future where really, there's so much imperfect information to make decisions on. Things change so rapidly, and yet you have to be able to lead your team through all of that.
And we're using his message actually for our communication today and for our message, aviate, navigate, and communicate. And that's, in that ever changing, that's what you're trying to do. And, Justin spoke eloquently about being in the cockpit and, especially in the Red Arrows, it's such a fast moving, time is of the essence, and the way you think and the change you make in that moment could change everything. And I think that's where we see Jason's message being powerful. I mean, we're now having to use technology, which was part of our life, this virtual world that you and I are doing now, but it will become everyone's full day, or most people's full day now. And that's, where he every day had to think about those things and navigate through that changing world. We'll be trying to do that with our teams in a virtual world, not being able to connect to them, and say it'll be okay. It's that same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to bring in Brendan, who's a clip around the world yacht skipper. He led a team of sailors who were not only amateurs, but most of them had never sailed before in their lives, through the toughest oceans on the planet, the toughest conditions. Not only did they win the race, they actually encountered challenges that no other clipper crew had ever faced before. So we'll chat to him about how they got through all of that and came out successful, came out victorious in their case. And Floyd, SAS Major, who I can remember him saying to me one day that when he was leading units behind enemy lines, he said, even with the best reconnaissance and intelligence on the planet, you still don't know what's going to happen in 5 seconds' time. You really don't. And he said, interestingly, as a leader, I don't know whether I've got the answer, but I'm pretty sure we have. And the other really interesting description he made of SAS units, he said, they're the most entrepreneurial organizations I've ever worked in. And he wasn't talking about, they don't go out and set up businesses. They're not business founders. He said entrepreneurial is kind of in the problem solving sense. He said, we just encounter and solve problems together continually. And which is why he described them as the most entrepreneurial. So we're going to draw on all these sorts of people and inspiration from them. But you've also been in touch with a lot of people that can bring real inspiration and insight into this.
Yes, anyone who I felt that could help us lead our teams in these times of uncertainty, and I've asked them to come along, and in the changing environment. I think that's who I've asked. So Michael Shinnick, who has been a personal mentor to me, he works with a business, or he owns business practice, and also Giles Newsom, who is, I call him the walking, talking LinkedIn man. So we all use these social channels to promote our messages, and quite often, that's where we all hang out in the evenings. But I think Giles was the person who taught me that these are communities and they're networking. And so he's also has a company who creates websites, and that's why he has a huge amount of information. Everyone on everyone's to-do list at the moment is have a look at their website and those jobs that we put off. So I think he could perhaps help with that. And very interestingly, recently I've been looking at NLP, and I was lucky enough to be introduced to a lady, Sonia Saxon, who she's going to come on and help us really. I mean, she's a coach and a mentor and much more than that, but actually our emotional intelligence is going to be what we all need in our leadership style to come out of this. But also that belief system and that 20% of your brain, the back of your brain, I think that needs the visionary aspect of it, because we have to visualize what this looks like at the end of these few months. And we know industry is going to keep going, and we know that we'll have new challenges when we get there. And we want to be ready, and we want to be resilient in this and strong coming out of it. So stronger together. And, you know, I really believe that I'm absolutely, on a personal note, humbled by the amount of people that have come on board. And I know when I sent you a message the other evening, you didn't hesitate to say, yes, we can help. And I believe as business leaders and as people, we can all grow and learn. Everybody tells me that the world will change after this, and the way we communicate will change. And but none of us know really what that looks like yet. So we're going to navigate it together and bring on as many people. We have lots of other people in the background as well that will come on and help. And you know, it may be around products or what we think people will need, but this will grow and evolve.
Absolutely. I mean, communication's key. So we'll be chatting about bringing Dominic in, Dominic Colenso, who can help us on communication. He's helping a lot of businesses at the moment on virtual communication. So yeah, there's an awful lot of expertise and insight that we can bring into this. I mean, what challenges are you seeing people experiencing particularly at the moment?
Well, I think, you know, when your new working environment is the place where you live, it's kind of different, you know. I mean, normally we get up, we get, you know, I know there's plenty of people and definitely in startups and that work from home. But, you know, for me, it is managing teams who normally come into an office and are working from home. So getting them set up actually has been one of the things that we've had to do pretty quickly, and making sure they have the right internet connections and they have some safety around that. That's another thing we'll be looking at in the Pep Talks. You know, security and what that looks like, and anything that might be a threat. But also, you know, isolation. Isolation is going to be part of it, and we want to, you know, we're all, you know, even in this virtual world that we live in, we are all like to have a coffee and get together. So we're going to try and figure out ways to keep that connection. And that's where I think Pep Talks will come in as well. That really, you know, if you're having that spontaneous call, it's not a setup with an agenda and we need to get this work done and we need to be productive. We all understand that we need to be productive in this new working environment. But also it may give them an opportunity to talk to. I mean, I've been very lucky. I've met Brendan Hall, I've met Anne Daniels, I've met Justin, Dominic, you know, so it may be their book, it might be something that we can share in that, or an opportunity just for people to say, did you see that? You know, there was something, or, you know, as I say, Sonia will help. If we see anyone struggling with anything that we can help with, we're going to be there. We're going to be their ecosystem until they come out of this.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I've been helping some clients this morning, a leadership team, on how you enable a team, a virtual team, to work really well together. Because there's a different dynamic, you know, if people aren't all in the same space at the same time, if everybody's in their own dining room, there's a different dynamic in how you create a team. Yes. But I was saying to them, the principles are exactly the same. You know, there are 6 keys to world-class teamwork, in my view. You know, 6 characteristics that I've continually seen in world-class teams. They start with making sure you've got strong, clear, shared purpose, that everybody knows not just what we need to do, but why we're doing it. And that why and that purpose is absolutely critical. That's really what binds a team together. And it's really important to make sure that we genuinely all care about this, individually and collectively. And that's something that, when we're all in the same space at the same time, might happen more easily. I think we've got to be a bit more explicit about how we do that if the team's virtual. Yes. Making sure we have shared standards and expectations is another one, because, you know, many managers are used to looking over the shoulders of their people. You probably can't look over the shoulders of your people in exactly the same way. So you have to understand what good enough looks like, and make sure everybody's got a really clear idea as to what's expected and what we need. We also need to know how to work really well together. We have to understand what I call the chain of interdependency, understanding that I need to do X so that you can do Y, so that somebody else can do Z, and how that works. Because, you know, people will probably not have as much direct communication with each other. They can't just walk up to the desk. So we're going to have a real idea, a really good idea, a really clear idea as to what everybody needs to do and how they work with each other to achieve what we need to. Strength and diversity is the 4th key that I see. understanding how we get the best out of everyone and how we utilize everybody's skills within the team. Because, you know, my weakness is your strength and vice versa. So how do we really use those? Making sure we can be completely honest with each other and have those kind of open conversations, even if it's, listen, I'm struggling. You know, don't be embarrassed to say, listen, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
When I talk to people about the great team players that I've seen, great team players will offer to help others, but really, really great team players will say, I need some help with this.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a step beyond a regular team player to be able to say, I need help with this. And the very best that I've come across understand that if they don't say, I need some help with this, they're actually slowing the team down. So they need to put their pride in the back pocket and recognize it. And then that ability to always learn is the sixth. And I was talking to this group of leaders this morning about the importance of having regular briefs and debriefs with the team, regular check-ins. And part of the check-in is just that open question: how are we doing? How are we working together as a team? What could we do better? How can we learn from what we've, you know, the first few days of working remotely? What could we do in the next few days that would help us to work as a better team together? And having those conversations so that you continually evolve along that journey. So all of those rules still apply. At the conference that we delivered a couple of years ago, I was asked at the end of it, after listening to Anne and Brendan and Justin and Floyd, the SAS major, and we had Dame Stella Remington there, who's the Director General of MI5. I was asked to kind of sum up what all of them talked about, you know, the common themes that emerged in all of them. And all of them were talking about align, empower, and engage your team. Make sure that you all know the direction in which you're going. Make sure everybody is genuinely empowered to make decisions, and they're engaged. They know why. You know, this isn't just a set of tasks. We understand what we're trying to achieve and the importance of it and why it's important. So all of that wraps in, and I think if you get those absolutely right, it genuinely doesn't matter where in the world you happen to be. You can even be on different time zones. It doesn't matter. You will still form a really, really powerful team.
Yes, totally agree. And I think, you know, real business models, successful business models, it's all about the execution. And so you're still going to have to execute, albeit remotely. And, you know, hopefully over the weeks and, you know, a couple of months or whatever this is, there will be lots of questions. And that's what I look forward to, hearing people's questions or ideas. And then in the background, we'll come together and we'll find someone who'll have the answer. There are plenty of people, who, as you say, who have real life experiences that translate into business, and probably now more so than ever before, the need to surround ourselves with those people. And the opportunity I feel for people in our industry to get to meet, you know, Anne and Floyd and everybody is incredible. You know, normally, as you say, we take time off and we go to a conference and we are totally, you know, in that space to gear ourselves up for the year ahead. And then the year starts and life takes over. But getting this in bite sizes, you know, there'll be a message in there for everybody. I'm you know, so sure of it. So absolutely. I really look forward to it. I think the structure that we've agreed on is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it'll be at the same time, so it'll make it easy for people. And we will have a YouTube channel with lots of videos, and I mean, there's some really interesting videos out there around working from home and that. So we'll add as we need whatever we think is relevant and interesting and helpful. So, you know, I think next week we thought we really need to start with somebody who understands the virus and understands, and who best to do that except Chris Gibson, MBE, who, as you said, fought the Ebola, and he's director of Growth Pod and Systems Medical Limited. So he's a very interesting guy, and I can't thank him enough already. I'm looking forward to meeting him. I cannot thank him enough for taking the time out, because I think this is a kind of good, strong start. You know, just somebody who can give us some clarity on what this looks like, and you know, he more than anyone will know we'll come out the end of this. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, having known him for a couple of years, he's got some incredible insights to share. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we kick off next week. It's really a case of stay tuned, isn't it? Watch this space.
Stay tuned and be part of it. Actually, be part of it. It's a community that we're building, and we'll be here during this and after it if anybody needs anything, or you know. And I believe we're going to help businesses to get through this. I believe with this combined effort and combined intelligence, and I say we started this on Wednesday and today is Friday. So we have a bank of people out there willing to help and give their time and to help people through this and find something that might resonate with them and you know, at the very least give them resilience. And that's what we want.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So have a great weekend. We will see you next week.
Thank you. And thank you for all your help.
We're very welcome.